Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Cameron here with another episode of Legacy's Journey. We are here at the wonderful Commitment Summit in beautiful, hot, wonderful, amazing food, Costa Rica. And right now, I got my guy Mike right here. And I'm going to let him explain who he is, what he does, where he's from, what he's representing. And then, of course, we're going to jump straight into it. So, Mike, tell the people.
Sure. This is a good question to start off with. So my name is Mike Peterson. I am a digital agency owner, have been for at least 12 years now, but we just recently joined the Height franchise family as well.
Okay.
So we're Height
Okay.
Digital, Portland, Oregon.
Okay. Okay.
I'm a husband. I've been married for 21 years, just about.
Yes.
Yeah, and together with my lady for 25.
Yes.
We have two amazing daughters. One is 20 and one is 17.
Hashtag girl dad.
Hashtag outnumbered.
Yes. Okay, so let's go right there. Let's jump into it. Okay, so you said you've been doing this for about 12 years, which means you were doing something prior. So when you got to the point where you're like, you know what, babe? I think I want to go out on my own and do this. Like, what was her initial reaction?
Yeah, well, it wasn't so much of a reaction as I was really blessed to marry a woman who has just got my back no matter what.
Right.
She's extremely supportive. So my agency journey, like how that got started, is most of the stuff in my life is crock pot, right? So I never had major dramatic shifts. I actually started life out being an automotive or an MECP certified installer for car audio and electronics.
Okay.
That was my world. I loved cars. I loved audio. So I've always chased hobbies. But I went back to school. So it took me 6 years to get a 4-year degree, and I was working full time. She was raising young kids, and
The young
and I
ones.
was working full time, driving an hour both ways to get to school at night. And
Dedication.
yeah, there was a lot of dedication, but it's hard. Like there were a lot of times I wanted to quit, and she said she'd kill me if I did. So,
Which is fair.
I figured death or keep going was the easier option.
Right, right.
But beyond that, yeah. So I worked for a company during the time I was going to school, and they promoted me to interactive media director over 5 companies once I graduated. And that was a good gig for about 18 months, and then they laid me off. But I had some notice, and in the meantime, I had started building a side business, a freelance business, doing marketing and web design and development. And
Okay,
so it was
okay.
just a natural transition to go, okay, full time. Um, I will tell you though, going from being employed your whole life to self-employed,
Man.
interesting journey. So the first 30 days was awesome. I played tons of video games, had a great time.
Right.
Until my wife said, "All right, what did you earn?" And I went, "Oh, crap. Everything is
Yeah.
on me."
Right. And that's what I tell a lot of people too. I'm like, man, you got to be like that lion in the jungle, so to speak. Like if you don't go kill the zebra or the gazelle, we not eating today.
Yeah.
Or we throwing some type of meal that does not go together
Yep.
at all.
Yep.
So I definitely feel that because I had a very similar journey. Okay. So she was supportive. You start getting that momentum.
Yep.
Okay, so now you have, at this point, it was younger kids. So what was that like in trying to keep that balance? Because I know, at least for me, it's so easy to get caught up in like, I got to do more work. Nope, I got to stay up later. Nope, I got to miss that so I can get this done. And you don't want to miss out on those moments. So,
Right.
like, how did you balance that?
Right. I would say that there wasn't much of a balance in so much that there was more of a juggling act.
Okay.
At least initially. So we're here at the Commitment Summit, and so one of the most important things is what is my commitment, and this hasn't really changed, but my commitment is to my family, first and foremost. So there were times where I have sacrificed potential growth, where my family took the precedent, and I'm okay with that. It's
Were you able to
again,
sleep at night?
yeah, I
Yeah,
don't. I
yeah.
don't need to be an overnight success. I will be successful regardless because of the choices that I make and the work that I put in. But I have the patience to continue to keep going. So
Okay.
yeah. So I guess maybe not the answer you want to hear, but over time it does become a balance in and of itself.
Right.
Because my commitment is to my family, I was there as many recitals and mini graduation celebrations that were there
And
for
you don't
each
regret
grade,
it.
and I don't regret it at all. In fact, now as I'm in the other stage of life where one kid has moved out and the other one is getting ready, getting ready to go off to college sometime next year, I find myself being that guy that's getting nostalgic about remembering all those little moments.
Yeah.
You know, that we're hopefully, this is to my daughters, hopefully no rush, but grandkids will hopefully help fill that void at some point.
Right, right. But I think that's good. Like you said, it's that balancing. It's what do you put, first. And I think God honors that, of course, and we know that.
Yep. Yep.
All right, so then now, since you have one that's in college,
Yep.
and then one that's about to go, so she's about to be a senior in high school.
Yep. Yep.
So now, what are some things or like activities that you guys have on the books that like we're doing this every Saturday? Like in our house, we do pancakes every Saturday.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
kids know we're doing pancakes. It's just a matter of what's the flavor.
Yeah. I think early on, one of the things that my wife and I prioritized was, so there's a moment. It's not like we set out with these major great intentions. You kind of develop them as you go, and you start to look at your relationship to see like where are we, what's going on. We noticed that the kids were taking up a ton of our time, and she worked as well, and I was working, trying to do all these different things. And we started to realize that we needed to have that time together. So I think I posted on or commented on one of your social media posts that that we had a set date every single week for lunch.
Yeah. We did talk about that.
Yeah,
Right.
and that was huge because it gave us time to talk about stuff that wasn't about the kids. Now, we definitely could. There wasn't a rule, but it gave us time to continue to have that relationship building part. And, I mean, I might just be really lucky, but I really do believe that I married my soulmate. Like, she's amazing, and she's my best friend.
Look at the
So,
conviction that was right there.
yeah, and she's not even standing behind me with any
She's
any
not.
weapon
She's
or
not.
anything,
She
so-
may not even know he's doing this episode.
She doesn't. But she's amazing. So she has my back first and foremost. But secondly, she's my best friend. And so, for us to carve that time out, just seemed natural. And so, for us to go to things like this seems
Right.
natural.
Right.
We're definitely blessed in that we can leave our kids home now. And so we go camping together, when we're at home, and we leave the kids to do their stuff because they've got work or whatever things that are going on.
Fair.
Yeah, so make the commitment to your spouse too. Everything you're in life.
I
it's a
like
commitment.
that. So it's like the kids are good. It's me and the spouse that need the time.
Yeah.
And I've been finding out, like, me and my wife are here, and everybody's like, "Where's the baby?" Because that's how they met us, you
Yeah.
know. And I'm like, it's husband and wife time, like.
Yep.
And I think she was saying this is probably the first time, like not overnight, but that we've had an extended time with like no kids. We've always at least had one with us for the
Yeah.
past 8 years. Only been married 9.5.
Yeah.
So it's like, dang, like nobody's tapping us or asking about food. And it's just crazy as you see them getting older, that dynamic does start to change. And I can see how it's easy to get
Yeah.
caught up in their soccer and sports
Yeah.
and clubs.
Yeah, because we do that a lot too. So my youngest plays competitive volleyball for nationals team. And has,
Doesn't that mean she like travels?
we
and-
travel all over the place? But as often as we can, we do it together.
Okay.
So my wife and I and Annabelle, and we go out and we do that. So we also will steal time in those places to do something, even if it's go wine tasting. Even
Right,
though there's
right.
a tournament going on, we'll go out and have a little date because we may not ever get that experience to be in that city again.
Which is fair.
right? So
Yeah.
it's all about that commitment. I mean, depending on which side of the fence that your viewers are on, your listeners are on, this will paint me into one side or the other, but that's fine. Kids are incredibly resilient.
I
And
feel
it's
it. I
more
feel it.
important what we model for them than what we show them or tell them. And so for me,
I like that.
I
Wait, you
model
gotta
and
say
show
that again. That was
yeah.
deep.
So
That was deep.
it is more important what we model for them than what we show, like demonstrate sometimes when we're in teaching mode, or what we tell them,
Yep.
right? And what hopefully in the long run that my kids will see that I have modeled for them is how a man should treat a woman.
Good one.
Yeah.
Because you're a
And
girl dad, so that's
I'm a girl dad.
That's really big in
Big
today's culture.
expectations, right?
Okay.
For their husbands, and if they're listening to this ever, I am watching, by the way. But also,
So husbands is one.
and how to commit to one another in a relationship.
Now you
And
gotta
that's
go.
huge.
You gotta dive into that one.
Yeah.
Because Like, you literally see on the news all the time, like, this angry boyfriend shot up the girlfriend, or just these crazy stories. And I'm like, if you don't mean somebody well, like, just leave them alone. But I'm
Yeah.
like, what do I have to teach my kids to even, like, pick up these behaviors or signs? So, like, how would you tell? Because you're definitely at the my daughters are dating stage.
Sure. Yeah.
So, like,
Yeah.
how does that even, because I'm scared of it, by the
Yeah.
way. So, how does this work?
By the grace of God, that's how it works.
Great answer.
But you're gonna want more than that. So I'll just tell you stories. So when my oldest started dating, my first initial reaction is always the stuff of, I need to, they need to be polishing the handgun when they come over, or whatever,
Right,
just to
something
like,
scary.
scare them.
Yeah.
And I had a friend of mine who's a couple years ahead of me with daughters, and he said, Mike, the most important thing that you can do is befriend the boyfriends. And he says, if for no other reason than to keep your enemies close.
Oh. Okay,
Right?
I see that. I see
Right.
that. Mm-hmm.
And so I did that, but here's the deal: don't become your enemies. If you keep them close,
Because they're not gonna try to rebel.
they don't rebel. The
Oh, your
kids
dad
don't push
cool.
away. They don't, 'cause
Yeah.
anytime
Oh, yeah.
I want my kids to not do something, I tell them they shouldn't. If I want them to do something, I tell them they shouldn't do it, and then they do it.
Oh.
Right?
Okay. I need to write
Because
that
they
one
all
down.
know better than we do, right?
Yeah. So okay.
Yeah.
So befriending. Okay, that makes. Because then it's like oh man, your dad's cool. Like, I don't mind coming around, or
Yeah.
versus like, oh, your dad hates me. Let's just go over
Yeah.
here and do our own thing. That's very
But what
smart.
that does is it weeds out the bad ones. Because if I'm trying to be friendly and relate to them, the ones who only have a bad agenda want nothing to do with me. They can't stand that test, and so they leave. And now it's hard to watch your girls get heartbroken. That's the hardest thing in the world.
Even though he obviously didn't mean you any good.
Yeah, but there's a better side, right? It's about that modeling. Who should be around you?
Somebody like dad.
Yeah, somebody like
That's
that.
really good. Okay, okay. So then, all right, so let's go. So we know we got some dating advice that I need to write down.
Yeah.
So now on the business side, and I know this has helped me even in regards to raising my kids, like, what are 2 or 3 things that you feel like you've learned about yourself that you're like, these are things that I would tell some new agency owner that maybe just started within the past year?
So there's definitely a lot of stuff I've picked up over the years, and most of it to the credit of more brilliant people ahead of me. It's not my own. I've picked it up, right, and just redeliver it in some new
That's
way.
fair. That's fair.
But if you were just starting out as a digital agency, I would tell you to absolutely kill your idea of perfection
Ooh, that's a good
and
one.
just ship it. And I know full well that I'm sitting here staring at myself on camera because it's still the biggest struggle that I face.
Yeah.
I want everything to be perfect, so it keeps me from putting myself out there.
That's a good one.
The other one is if you want to be successful in this business, you cannot hide.
What do you mean? You can't,
You can't hide. In that I use perfectionism to hide.
Oh,
I don't
wait,
want to
hold
put
up.
myself out there in the world because of fear of someone rejecting this or not wanting it
That's
or doing
fair.
whatever. And if you want to be successful, you cannot hide. And that's your own fear holding you back.
So what are some ways you put yourself out there?
Again, have a really strong lady at home who pushes
Get out
me,
there.
right? Get out
Right,
of bed and get
right.
moving. That's super helpful. I also have a business partner who compliments me in a lot of ways as well.
Give him a
So-
shout out. Give him a
so,
shout out.
Yeah, so Michael Clark is my business partner, and so we have been business partners since 2013. And
Yay.
again, it's much like a marriage as well. So
Learning each other's quirks
it is
and
very much like that. Yeah.
yeah, what works for
Yeah.
you may not work for me, but that's okay.
Right. Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I feel it. I feel it. Okay, so we got the first one is second one is not being perfect.
Yeah.
What did they say? Perfect inaction is worse than imperfect action.
Imperfect action is better than perfect
Better,
action.
okay.
Yeah. Or another way that we heard it from John Maxwell was, I believe it was John Maxwell. He said that consistency will beat intensity every day of the week.
That's smooth. All right, so those are your 2 lessons. Okay.
Yeah.
So now let's go back a little bit. So before the kids,
Yep.
maybe right at when you were starting to meet the wife. So what would you tell fresh out of high school Mike or fresh out of college Mike? Like
Oh
if you
gosh.
could look back and say, like I know where I am today, bro, don't fill in the blank. And it could be multiple things.
Don't wait.
On.
Just just in general, man. Again, don't wait for things to be perfect.
Okay.
Don't don't wait until you think you're ready because we are all far more ready than we think we are.
Oh, okay. Go into that because I feel like you dropping such. It's like real smooth, but I'm
Thank you.
like, the more I'm thinking about this, I'm like, man. Okay, go into it. Dig,
Yeah.
dig, dig.
So that we're far more ready than we think we are. So we
Okay.
often, as people, we discount the stuff that we've gone through, and that we
Yes.
trivialize it. Right? It wasn't that important to us or whatever.
It
But
wasn't that big a
it
deal.
wasn't that big a deal. But you don't realize the fact that the person standing next to you may be going through that exact same thing. And why wouldn't you want to reach out and help that person by sharing that story you just went through?
Because you said earlier, we're scared of the rejection.
We are.
Like, well, if I say this, how does this make me look?
Right.
Are they gonna think of me any different?
Yeah.
Maybe I shouldn't say. I'm just not gonna say it.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
face that all the time.
Lots of people are worried about their brand, right?
Which
Whatever they've got, but your brand is who you are at your most authentic self. So just be that.
that's fair. Yeah, and especially being at a marketing conference, they really drill your brand, what you want to do, who do you want to be perceived as. But I think that's so good because I mean, you deal with this all the time with all your clients because that's
Yeah,
your job.
that's my job.
How
Yeah.
do we present you in the best light that's still true to who you are?
Right.
So you don't have to be Cameron in front of camera one way and
Right.
then camera up. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that's all we see it all the time, right, in social media where there's this perfect picture of everything that's going on, and that's why companies have to hire, these PR agents because when something does go bad, they have to get in front of it. But
Right.
if they're completely authentic, people expect it. It's okay.
That's fair. That's fair. Okay. So that's college, or is that what you telling high school you, or
the,
both?
the both
Okay.
because here's the deal. I'm 43 at least at the time of this recording, and I'm gonna should on myself. This is something I heard from a coach one time. Don't should on yourself everywhere, and I'm saying should, not a bad word, but the word should. We often all should on ourselves, and that's a realization of unmet expectations. So I feel like I should be so much further along.
Oh, this sounds
than
like
I
me,
am,
like
right?
every day.
Yeah, and that's okay. We need some of that to keep going, but don't let it depress you. So in me waiting till I thought something was perfect, or me not taking some chance because I'm playing it safe, that's the stuff that I wish I could go tell younger Mike to just get up and get moving and do it,
Even if it's not perfect.
even if it's not perfect.
Even if it's not your version of the best.
Right, because again, consistency trumps intensity every day of the week. I mean, imagine how much better I'd be if I was started doing push-ups. Like if I did 100 push-ups a day from the time I graduated high school to now, which was a long time. But
Yeah.
yeah, I might be a bodybuilder. Who knows?
Consistency. Okay, that's good right there. I'm kind of still stuck on the whole part about just the going for it. I mean, I know that's kind of your recurring thing, but I guess for me, because I think about that and I'll come up with something and I'm like, oh man, I want it to look like this or be like this. And to your point, it's 2 days later and you're like, crap, I still haven't done it.
Yeah. So maybe a point of clarification is if your dream is like jump out of an airplane, don't just go for it, right? Like there's some steps you probably want to take before you do that.
Right.
So when I say go for it, whatever big dream that you have, or even if it's a small dream, there are always steps ahead of before that. So get started on those.
Even if
Right.
they seem small.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I've
That's a
been
good
in Toastmasters public speaking for 12 years.
Okay.
I didn't start out comfortable in front of a camera and in front of an audience and giving a speech of any kind.
Right.
But I put in the baby steps to get there. And now I'm fairly comfortable overall.
I'd say you're pretty comfortable. I mean, we got the camera on. He sounds comfortable. I don't know about y'all, but I'd say so.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. You know how you trying to like really digest what they said, but you're trying to remember you on a time schedule. Okay, so let's go here. So now that you are where you are, what are ways that you found are ways you can give back to people who may not be ready to work with you? I don't even, did we even tell people what you do? I feel like you
Yeah,
told them
I'm a digital agency owner, so I do marketing and web design. I'm also a story brand certified guide, so I help people.
but for which
Yeah,
industry?
for all service industries.
Okay,
Yeah, so
cool, cool.
we're generalists in the sense that we've been around long enough. You start to see patterns in almost every industry. So,
Okay, okay.
yeah,
So what would you say is like a way, let's say there's a company they want to work with you and they're like, "Ah, man, you tell them your price is I don't know, 2 grand a month." Is there a way or have you found ways to be able to give back or give value without necessarily you're not the right fit, but we don't want to turn you away, so maybe here's some things you can do. Cuz I mean, I'm sure yeah, agency owners are listening to this, but I know we
yeah,
got regular people as well.
yeah.
So like how do you kind of balance that?
I think it's important to realize that the most crucial thing that I know about myself is that I will give somebody absolutely everything. I don't even care if I get paid, right? Now, there's the other reality of life is that we do need income in order
We
to
got
keep going
bills
and
and
all of
groceries
those
keep
things,
going
right?
up.
Yeah, yes, they do a lot. But I always will educate, teach, and train people first.
Okay.
So even if I'm with a client and they can't afford what I have to say, I'm going to give them some action plan, something
Okay.
that they can do to implement. Now, whether they come back to me or not, that's not for me to decide. That's for God, and I'll follow up with them and check on them.
That's smart.
But I do offer coaching for clients if they can't afford a monthly deal, so they'll do the things they said themselves. I'll hold them accountable. I check in with
That's
them.
smart.
We walk through it together because
Yeah.
that's my mission, right? Is to make people better. Um, so there's that part, and then ultimately, again, you just love on people. I think it helps, and
Loving
eventually
on
I will
people.
win. Again, maybe not overnight, but I will win because I just love on people
Consistently.
consistently.
All right,
Yeah.
cool. Well, I'm going to give you this last bit for you to share whatever it is you want to share. Let the people know how they can get in contact with you.
Sure.
Because, of course, if they're on the West Coast, they may be like, hey, my marketing agency, they're slow. They're not getting me the right results. Maybe I just want somebody that better aligns with my value. I like what this guy's talking about
Yeah.
with family, being committed to those different things. So, what would you, really, you got the floor to say whatever you want. So, I'm going to just give that to you.
Well, all right. Well, so I guess the easiest way to get a hold of me would be to go to mikegpeterson.com. That's SON. So that's got all my links to all my
Stuff.
whatever craziness that I'm on or all the channels I'm neglecting at the time.
Right.
But they're there. And yeah, beyond that, I guess just a piece of advice as we go into potential recession stuff that's going on is that the recession only exists if you believe that it does.
Oh,
In the
oh,
sense that anytime
whoa.
that there's a downturn in the market, see, there's nothing new.
Mm-hmm.
If you just keep putting one foot in front of the other, you're going to come out of this further ahead. And again, John Maxwell said the same thing yesterday.
Right.
But we don't face things that are new for the most part. So you can look at history to find out what people did to become successful. Now the application might be different, the circumstances are different, but
Fair.
but the reality of what we're going through is different. So isn't different. So keep going, keep moving forward. That's what I would say. And if you want help with that, contact me. If you want help with your taxes, contact Cameron. And
That's us.
yeah.
So then, okay, see, now you made me want to think of another question.
Sure.
So what do you think? So you're talking about the marketing side, and me and you know this, that's the main way that you're going to grow is investing in the marketing and sales.
Sure.
But to your point, if there's a recession coming, a lot of people's first natural tendency, I need to cut my marketing budget.
Sure.
How do you come in and I don't know if the word would be convince, but maybe educate them that that's probably one of the main things you need to keep?
Sure. So marketing comes in all forms. So we can, in our industries, we can get very passionate about this is the only way that you can do things.
Right.
And I would caution anybody out there listening that if they think that this is the only way, that you should probably run the other direction
From that provider.
from that provider. Because here's the reality: it's a way. And so just because maybe you need to back off some expenses in a certain area doesn't mean you can't continue to self-promote or do things that may cost you less money.
Okay.
Right, so
Okay.
any
you can help them with that.
I can help them with that. Again, even if it's just coaching, right? Even if it's just coaching because we don't directly do the service that they want. If they want
Right.
someone to look at it and advise and coach, I can be there to do that.
All right, cool. Well, I'm going to try my best not to ask any more questions. So, we want to thank you guys so much for tuning into this
you.
episode of Legacy's Journey. Of course, again, thanks to the Commitment Summit for hosting, for GoBox Studio, allowing us to use this awesome setup you see
amazing.
with the backdrop. We appreciate Ken and his team for giving us that. You heard his contact information, guys. I've been with these people. A lot of these guests I know. So, we're not bringing on people that just started yesterday and, oh, they look cool. Like, no. Me and Mike have talked like this. I call him my timekeeper because he saved my life last year in that ice tub. But these are people, as you can see, that it's deeper for them. They want to help you because they know they can, and they're not trying to get over or just say whatever their latest fancy thing is. So hopefully you guys love this episode. Again, Mike gave you all his contact info. It was Mike G. Peterson with the O-N, not the E-N,
O-N.
.com. If you need anything marketing related, this is a great place to start. All right, so that's all we got. We appreciate you guys for listening and tuning in. Make sure you share this with somebody, and we'll talk to you guys soon. See ya.
Later, man.
See ya.